Hey guys, this is Fractal with another All Babies Are Atheists video again. Yeah, again. Bionic Dance made another video on this exact topic, which isn't really surprising because she has pretty much only 2 points that she has ever made, and she just rehashes them in every single one of her videos. And I'm going to use both of those points that she makes in order to destroy her argument. Now, the first point she makes is obviously that if the number of gods you believe in is 0, you're an atheist, which is summing up the lack of a belief kind of atheists. Now, obviously, that doesn't even need to be the final refutation, because the uselessness of her definition by itself is a reason not to use atheism in that way. And the fact that the vast majority of people don't use it in her way should indicate that atheism doesn't mean what she says or makes up that it means. She made up her own definition for atheism, which is that if the number of gods you believe in equals 0, you're an atheist. That is one point that she makes. The second point she makes, not in this video, but in pretty much most of her other videos, is that there's no such thing as an agnostic. Now, for most of the world, agnostic would mean somebody who thinks that either they're not sure whether or not God exists, or that God's existence is an unknowable, and therefore arguing or debating over belief in it is meaningless. I'm also going to leave out igtheism, pantheism, panentheism, and apatheism. I'll just leave all of those out of my argument, just because they're simply unnecessary to refute Bionic Dance's retarded definition. Now, basically, in a conversation I had with her, which lasted about well over an hour, maybe even 2 hours, she came to terms with the fact that this definition is something that she completely made up. But that's also beside the point. I want to argue over. I want to use her own argument to refute herself. One of the other points she makes in her videos is that, like I said, there's no such thing as an agnostic, because while knowledge versus lack of knowledge is on one axis, belief and lack of belief is on another axis. So you can't be an agnostic the same way you can't be an atheist. You can be an agnostic atheist, an agnostic theist, or a Gnostic atheist, or a Gnostic theist. This is an argument used by Bionic Dance to demonstrate that there's no such thing as agnostics. And I think she uses these as a kind of atheist crusade to recruit as many people as possible under the term atheist as she possibly can. So she says that there's no such thing as agnostics, because if you're an agnostic, then you don't believe in a god, therefore you're an atheist. And if you're a baby, then you don't believe in a god, and therefore you're an atheist. As if this somehow would make atheism a more useful definition, or even though the vast majority of people don't use the word agnostic or atheist in the way she makes up. But these two things, these 2 points of Bionic Dance, the one on agnosticism and the other on atheism, meaning the number of gods believed in equals 0, these make quite a large conundrum. Now, because Bionic Dance has a limited capacity for intellect, she doesn't manage to see the problem here. But I'm going to clarify it. According to your graph of agnosticism and atheism, there is such a thing called a Gnostic theist, meaning somebody who knows for a fact that God exists. He would fall under Gnostic theism. Now, A Gnostic theist does not believe in God. A Gnostic theist knows that a God exists. The same way that you don't believe in evolution, you know evolution is real. You don't believe in gravity, you know gravity. In the same exact way, Gnostic theists don't believe in God, they know God exists. Now, Bionic Dance doesn't know much about religion at all, but the one religion she knows anything about is Christianity, and that's why this is what informs her decision-making and definition-making. Because in Christianity, there's a value for belief in God and faith in Jesus. But most religions don't require faith or belief. Most religious people know for a fact that their God exists because it is not a matter of faith to them. Only Christians hold value for faith. I used to be Jewish, and I knew that God was real for a fact. It was as undeniable to me as gravity. It was a fact of life. Yeah, God exists, because otherwise how did the universe come into existence? So they know for a fact that God exists, which would mean that the number of gods they believe in is 0. Therefore, they are atheists, even though they are theists. By any kind of definition you use, they're still theists. But they're also atheists now, because they don't believe in gods. Bionic Dance, I hope you can, by now, tell the sheer stupidity of your argument, or both of your arguments, both about agnosticism and about atheism, which you know shit about, okay? Because you want to combat Christianity, you hijack the word atheist, you make up your own fucking irrational definition, you stick it to it, then you say, without any evidence whatsoever, that many people use this definition of atheism. I have found none so far except you. Number of gods believed in equals 0 means you're an atheist. So I don't even have to stretch it as far as rocks or whatever. All I have to do is just look at your own arguments. One says that there is such a thing as Gnostic theists, which makes no sense, because if you know that God exists, then you don't have to believe that God exists. And therefore this whole scale of atheism versus agnosticism is completely and utterly useless. And if you have a Gnostic theist, under your definition of number of gods believed in equals 0, he would be an atheist. If you want to respond to this, please find a rational way to refute me, and don't try to use your slander and name-calling that you do in comment sections rather than responding to actual points that you notice that you're incapable of doing. Have a nice day, people. I am sick of this shit.